You can modify the car if you're not intending to use it. It's not illegal there. If you were intending to use it, then it becomes illegal.
Mr. Weasley is everything that's wrong with government. I've said it. I said it out loud. I'll explain later.
Welcome back, witches, wizards, and muggles. I am Jeremiah.
And I'm Andrew.
And this is Squibs Corner. I forgot to say that, but it's okay. You already know.
You already know.
So, I wanted to talk there's a 30-year anniversary of something that's happening this week. Did you hear about it?
No, I did not.
I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with Disney.
A Goofy movie.
Yes. Okay.
I did. Yes. Yes.
I'm so happy
Yes.
that you got that
I was
right.
aware. Yes.
So growing up, that was my favorite movie growing up.
Great movie. Great movie.
It's amazing. And I got to tell you, I watched it the other day, and it was better than I remember. And it's 30 years old.
Oh, it's fantastic.
30 years old, and it's better than I remember? What? That is insane. Do you remember?
One out of every two people were singing Powerline for months.
Oh, yeah. No, we were watching it last night, as a matter of fact, with our son, and I'm just sitting there just looking at him, just repeating, or just, off of memory, saying everything they're saying.
I mean, just do the perfect cast, Dad. Just do the perfect cast.
I was worried if you knew about the Goofy movie or not, but us being the same age, I was like,
Bruh,
no, he knows,
bruh.
he knows.
You think there's a movie that you know about that I don't know about? What's happening here?
Well, there's books I know about that you don't know about, so.
That's true.
Have you read The Mistborn yet?
No, I have not.
Oh, man, you got to read that.
No, I have not.
It. So let's just go ahead and get into it. This is the third chapter of the Chamber of Secrets, The Burrow. And we're going to go ahead and just jump right into that 7-word summary.
Which I have pre-prepared.
As do I.
I do not have a quote, though.
Go for it, Andrew.
Okay, my 7-word summary. Weasleys help Harry escape to the Burrow.
I think we went the same direction on this. So mine is flying cars, garden gnomes, the Weasley house.
I like it. I like it.
I'm going to go ahead and I think for this episode, since we are live, we're doing a live stream of this episode. We failed to mention that, but I'm going to go ahead and give early thoughts of this. And I love the Burrow. When I think of the Burrow, I think when Harry Potter, the movie did it great. The movie did it great. Harry Potter walks in the house and he's just looking around at all the magic that's happening. There's cross stitching or what would it be? It's not cross stitching. It's
like crocheting, I think.
Yeah, crocheting happening right there by itself. The dishes are washing themselves.
It's been a while since I've watched it.
Oh no, it's great, and it's a great differentiation from the Dursleys.
It's yes. Though I have one issue. I know it's, she's trying to show just the absolute difference between the Dursleys, Muggles, and then the Weasleys, Wizarding World. But I get that she's trying to paint the picture that the Weasleys aren't wealthy. But I don't understand why they have to make their home look so derelict. I mean, if it's a magical home, it's not like his magic is impoverished. Well,
that might be part of the reason to show. 'Cause I think when a lot of people think of magic, they think easy solution. Like, why would anything be astray? Why would anything, you got magic to make everything exactly how you want it. So, I think it shows that not every wizarding family is perfect. Because at this point, we're still introducing everything. So, later we got the Malfoy Manor. We got Hagrid's hut that we've already seen that, it's literally a hut that's jam packed full of stuff. So no,
Sure.
it's good.
No, I
So I'll
like it.
let you. Oh,
As well, let me just as we're sharing thoughts,
yeah.
having read all of the books, I love this chapter because she recalls a lot of things from
Mm,
this chapter
yeah.
in future books, which I appreciate
No,
that she does
it's a
that.
great chapter, a great continuation. Harry gets to see his friends. It's yeah, no,
Yes.
it's great.
Yeah. So let's catch us up to where we are. We've started the second book, Chamber of Secrets. We've had some terrible experiences with the Dursleys. The Dursleys now know that Harry can't do magic outside of school, all because Harry was visited by a creature named Dobby, who was a house elf, who warned Harry not to go back to school. Right? Don't go back to school. There's a plot to get Harry Potter. You can't go back to school. And in an effort to dissuade Harry from going back to school, Dobby committed federal crime, the federal crime of keeping his mail, stole his mail. So
All right, all
so
right.
we know that Dobby, he's already disobeying, he's hiding from his masters by even going to Harry's, and he's stolen his mail,
That's
and
great.
and he does a hover charm where he crashes a big thing of pudding that ruins the Dursleys' evening, and Uncle Vernon didn't get the deal he was trying to make. So now Harry has been locked in his room. Not just locked in his room, but there's bars around his window.
Mm.
Hedwig's not allowed to fly. He can't get out because it's locked from the outside. Um, Poor Harry,
All right.
right? Poor
He's
Harry.
in a literal prison. There's even a cat flap
Yeah,
on his door for the
they're in
food.
cat flap. And so he was having a dream where he hears some loud rumbling. And he wakes up and he sees that his room is getting brighter, and he looks out his window. And now we'll start with the first paragraph of chapter 3. Ron, breathed Harry, creeping up to the window and pushing it up so that they could talk through the bars. Ron, how did you? What the? And then
I
we go
mean,
on.
it's like we said, second story. He's in the second story, and there's a car outside of his window.
Okay.
I think I might have the same reaction, except a little bit more extreme.
Yeah, well, I would say this: if you were introduced to the wizarding world, maybe you wouldn't, because
Uh,
Harry's good at flying brooms, right? So
yeah,
flying isn't really a new
but a
concept in the
flying
wizarding world,
car.
but a flying car,
And I think at this point he doesn't know that that's not something that's supposed to be a
sure,
thing.
sure,
So
sure.
maybe he's thinking like, "Oh, I didn't know we could do that. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah,
that'd be helpful."
what year do we have auto shop? What I've heard of this. Yes. All right. So Ron, Fred, and George, they're parked outside of the second story window in a turquoise 1959 Ford Anglia, which
Mm.
is, I think, because of the Harry Potter universe, one of the most famous movie or story cars. You've got the Batmobile, you've got James Bond in the Aston
Yeah.
Martin, and you've got the Weasleys in the Ford Anglia. I
And
mean,
I believe I've unboxed that on my Accio Potter Guy YouTube channel.
go
So
visit Accio
yeah,
Potter Guy.
it's nice. I'm looking right at it right now. It's
There you go. There you go.
yeah, I love it.
So, so obviously, Ron, they worried about Harry. He's not written 12 letters, 12 times. He's asked Harry to come stay. Not once did he get a reply. And they were getting suspicious. They figured that Harry was getting a little bit of mistreatment from the Dursleys. And then he says, and we haven't heard back from you. And then dad came home and found out that you'd gotten a letter, you'd gotten in trouble for the hover charm. He's like, how'd you find that? What does your dad do? Oh, he works for the Ministry of Magic. And let me just preface in this chapter, I'm saying it right now, controversial take. Mr. Weasley is everything that's wrong with government. I've said it. I said it out loud. I'll explain later.
Whoa.
He
Whoa. Okay. Wow. I've never heard anybody say that.
he is everything that's wrong with government. Okay, so
All right. I'm looking forward to hearing about that.
it's so once I say it, you'll be like, you're right.
Yeah.
Once I say
Yeah.
it. So anyway, so we find out that Mr. Weasley works for the misuse of Muggle artifacts office in the Ministry of Magic, and we find out that he is obsessed with Muggle artifacts.
Oh,
And
that's
so,
an understatement.
understatement, yes. And there's a great line in the movie
Yes.
that is not in the book.
Yeah, it should be in the book, but
What exactly is the function
of a
of a
rubber
rubber
duck.
duck?
Ah.
Such a great line.
I love that they add like so there's some things in the movies that they added makes total sense
So
and you
good.
wish it was in the book.
So
And there's
good.
some stuff that they put in the books or the movies and you go, what are
Why
you
though?
doing?
Why though?
Why what are
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
like
Yeah.
this is just a little funny thing they inserted. They're not changing anything.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
So they tie a rope around the bars that are, protecting Harry's window, and they pull the bars off. So they hop in, or they tell Harry to hop in. He's like, "All my stuff's downstairs. I, I, I can't come." They're like, "We got this," and they go and they, with a bobby pin or something, pick the lock. And they're like, "Yeah, everybody thinks it's kind of weird that we know this Muggle stuff, but we find that it comes in handy." And it's like,
Like I keep saying, man, they like pay attention to these two.
pay
They are
attention to Fred and George.
it's like when people watch Family Guy. I'm going to compare the Weasley twins to Family Guy. People that don't understand Family Guy will look at it and go, well, this is stupid. Like, they're just talking about stupid stuff. It doesn't make any sense. I'm like, no, it makes perfect sense. You actually have to be a little bit smart to understand what they're talking about.
Sure.
So that's how these Fred and George are.
Yeah, so Fred and George, they go downstairs. Watch out for that last step. It squeaks. We don't want to wake up Uncle Vernon, obviously. And so they go downstairs, they get everything, they come up, um, and then chaos ensues, right? So they get everything, and here's Harry again. They get everything in, and then Hedwig, who's been locked in her cage and is in Harry's room, Harry starts going out, and then we hear this loud owl screech that wakes up Uncle Vernon, and then Harry's like, "Oh no, I've forgotten Hedwig." It's like, bro, first your dad's invisibility cloak. Now,
You're forgetting all the important.
now,
You forget
now
a
you
live being. Come
you're like,
on.
what are we doing here? So they get Hedwig's cage, throws it into the forward angle, climbing out the window. Vernon comes in, sees it, calls for Petunia, and then Harry's trying to dive in the car. Vernon grabs his ankles, grabs his feet, grabs his legs, and everybody else is pulling Harry in. And then in the book, he doesn't fall out. Does he fall out of the window in the book?
I
Or does he fall out of the window in the movie?
falls out of the window in the movie. I know that,
Yeah,
but
in the movie.
in the book, I don't
I don't
think
think
he
he
does.
falls out. Anyway, I couldn't remember if he fell out in the movie, but so anyway, they're able to get out. Harry gets in the car, and they, I want to say drive away, but they fly away,
Yeah.
and he's free from the Dursleys, which is a let's go.
All right. So one thing I want to mention about about Vernon trying to stop Harry. So this has never made any sense to me. So I get why sort of like Harry's living with him. They're supposed to be watching Harry, but now Harry's leaving, and it's obviously magical people picking him up. And Vernon is so distraught that Harry is getting away. Wouldn't he open the door and be like, oh, well, good, and then shut the door and walk off? Like,
I think there's still part of them that wants to break him of his magic, break him away from the wizarding world. It didn't
Okay.
work in the first book.
No. No.
They clearly were able to track Harry wherever he was.
Yeah.
So now he's like, I'll put bars on the window and I'll lock the door. Now the wizarding world
Yeah,
can never get
I
to him.
guess, yeah. But,
That can be
so
my
yeah,
only
yeah,
assumption.
yeah. Well, that makes sense, but it's also like, man, they're taking him away.
Good
When,
riddance.
right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, good riddance.
Whew.
Like,
We've got 9 to 10
go
months
to,
without him.
yeah, okay. So that I never thought of it that way. He's trying to like prevent him from going, and but wouldn't it just be easier on
Which,
them
if that's the
if they just
truth,
let him go?
right? If that's the truth, if they were really trying to break him from the wizarding world, they would have just destroyed all of his stuff in his trunk. Instead of locking it away,
Yeah,
you would destroy it all.
yeah. I mean, this is all just talk, but also wouldn't Petunia be like, Vernon?
The
That's
letter.
yeah, the letter. But
I
wouldn't she
wrote the
also be
letter.
like, Vernon? My sister was a witch. The stuff you're doing,
She
it's not
was a
gonna work.
freak.
But wouldn't she like? It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work, Vernon.
I know it.
But she's not involved in any of this trying to prevent Harry from going. It's all Vernon. So maybe she's just standing there going,
She might be behind the scenes,
hmm,
though. She might be behind the scenes.
maybe, maybe.
Vernon's the
It's nice to
enforcer.
think that she's standing there shaking her head like that's. One day he'll understand, but
Could see that.
this is all for nothing. I'll just let him. He won't listen. So I don't know. So one thing also worth mentioning is Hedwig has literally been locked in her cage. I'm not talking about the doors being shut and she's stuck in there. I'm saying Vernon, as you would imagine, put a padlock on, quote, that ruddy owl's cage. Like she's literally
Vernon's
like
the worst.
how's Harry supposed to even clean it? Like you think he comes up and unlocks it nicely so that he can clean it?
Doubtable.
Yeah. He's probably got to get like a stick and push everything out and just
Yeah,
maybe there's
oh,
nothing in
his
it. I don't know.
room. His
Ugh.
room smelled terribly.
Oh, I bet. Ooh. But something really beautiful happens right here. Fred and George picked a lock on Hedwig's cage now and let Hedwig out so that she could soar magnificently next to them as they head to the Weasleys. So that's nice. And we'll learn as we go along that the owls, they somehow just know where to go. They just know where they're going. And
Yeah.
I haven't done any research on owls. Maybe they are very smart like that. They got a good sense of direction, but yeah, they just in the wizarding world they know where people are. They know where people are hiding. So I mean, ooh, wow, we can really get into it with going
I
that
know. It's
direction.
just another little plot hole
Yeah.
of the story.
Hey, but we're supposed to be a little kid reading this book and not thinking about that stuff.
That's right.
So at this point, Harry told Fred and George and Ron all about Dobby and not receiving the letters and Dobby's warning and everything. They're in their conversations, and Ron and Harry kind of think that Draco Malfoy has something to do with this, of course. And
Naturally.
the Weasley twins do divulge that the Malfoys have a dark history behind them, and it sounds like Lucius Malfoy, which is Draco's dad, had some sort of involvement with you know who. So, we had mentioned earlier that Mr. Weasley worked at the Ministry. More specifically, like you said, he works for the the Misuse of Muggle Artifacts Office. Basically, what this is, he actually explains it. I think in the movies we don't necessarily get an explanation of what he does. I think it's just assumed by the title we would kind of
Sure, yeah.
put two and two together. But Ron explains it in the book. There's witches and wizards living in the Muggle world, which that's kind of crazy to think of, but they're very good at hiding. But not everybody acts the way they're supposed to. Some of them will put charms on toilets or teacups or garbage cans. And I'm just thinking of the twins. Don't blow up any toilet seats. Oh, that's a good idea, Mom. Thanks.
Thanks for the idea.
and they'll make all like the objects act like they're living objects, I guess you can say. Basically, make an inanimate object come to life. Mr. Weasley's job is to go fix it, put it back to normal, and perform memory charms on Muggles so that they don't remember what happened. Does that about sum it up?
Pretty succinct, yeah.
Yeah. And I would gather that because of Mr. Weasley's job, it caused him to become, like we said, obsessed. Like actually, like literally obsessed with Muggle artifacts. That flying car they're in right now, for instance, he's the one that charmed it. Illegally, I might add.
Mm,
However,
mm,
he put a loophole
mm,
in that law to make it to
mm.
where, what does he say? You can modify the car if you're not intending to use it. It's not illegal there. If you were intending to use it, then it becomes illegal. So I like how.
So what you're telling me?
Oh,
So what you're telling me is that a government official who
all right.
works against Muggle artifacts being enchanted enchanted a Muggle artifact and was within the law because that government official wrote the law. Is that what you're telling me that Arthur Weasley did?
Hey, that's the United States government summed up to a T.
That is government. That is not just, I mean, it is United States
It is
government.
the United
That is
States
government. So,
yeah.
while everyone, including myself, loves Arthur Weasley, that man needs to be impeached. He needs to be kicked out of that office because
Yeah,
he
maybe
has
that's one of the reasons
misused
Molly's
his
so mad at
power.
him. Yeah. Hmm.
And you know what? You
Yeah.
know what?
Yeah.
He even gets caught. He gets a full inquiry, or as Mrs. Weasley says, inquiry. So he gets caught, and the government that he works for does the inquiry. Does he get fired?
No.
Does he get punished? No, he does not. He completely abuses his power, and nothing happens to him.
J.K. Rowling must have time traveled to the future and seen what was going on and put it in the book.
That's right. That's
I
right.
mean, I know it's been going on for a while, but it's
Yes.
we're not going to get into it. We're not going to get into it. This is a Harry Potter podcast. This is a happy place.
Arthur Weasley, I love you. I love you so much.
Now, what's the memory charm? What is the memory charm? It's okay. If you're watching this, watch me, and if you're listening, just listen.
Oh no.
Obliviate. That
Obliviate.
conversation never happened.
I like the Men in Black way to do it better.
I don't
right
have
here.
that device. Yeah, that was good.
It was a gas leak.
Yeah. All right, back to it. So, Fred and George even explained that if you were to go in their garage, I don't know why I said it like that, their dad takes apart things and figures out how they work and puts them back together, and he has all kinds of things he's not supposed to have.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that if their
Continue.
house ever got raided,
Sure.
their dad would have to put himself in jail.
That's crazy.
I know where you're going with that.
That's crazy.
I just wanted to state one of the things he has a plethora of is plugs. He's
Plugs.
obsessed with plugs.
Yes.
And I'm going to say, so speaking of plugs, I'm going to have to obliviate everybody again. But with this TikTok ban going on and us discovering other countries and how they're not as terrible as we're thought to think they are, a lot of other countries are going, when are you guys going to upgrade your plugs or update, like your plugs are so out of date, and I'm going, I didn't know a plug could be out of date. What?
Man, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, so now I'm like, well, how far behind are we? Anyways,
Jeez, I know it.
obliviate.
So they rescue Harry. They get to the Burrow. They land. They're patting themselves on the back. We did this. This is amazing. Let's go. let's go inside. We're just gonna sneak in. And they get there, and first off, Harry sees everything, sees the burrow, thinking, "Oh, this is super cool." And at one point, Ron, he says, "Oh, it's not much." He goes, "No, this is wonderful."
Oh,
But
right. Put yourself in a bad situation and bring somebody else in
yeah,
and go, "Sorry, this sucks," and they go, "What are you talking about?"
yeah,
Sincerely too.
yeah. I think Ron already has, the issue. Harry's got money. He knows Harry's got money.
Hmm.
So I think this is another, which a lot of kids go through. I mean, I remember being a little kid, my both mom and dad worked. We weren't poor by any means, but I wasn't going to school in Nikes and, the cool
Yeah.
stuff. So I remember going to school
Kmart
and
shoes.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I get it.
Yeah.
Um and it's weird because in the Dursley world, the Muggle world, Harry was like that as well. Harry
Hmm.
was just wearing Dudley's hand-me-downs. He never had anything nice. My man had
Yeah.
broken glasses,
I think that's why
right?
he's so generous with his money and
Yeah.
everything. He's like, yeah,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yeah, and
Um,
it becomes an issue later. So
yeah. So they get to the Burrow. They get to the Burrow, which is just outside of the village of Ottery St. Catchpole, which we visit many times throughout the series, both for the Weasley's sake and others, which is pretty cool.
mhm.
Now we believe that the Weasley's house is called the Burrow strictly as play on words. The Weasleys live in burrows, hence the Weasleys live in a burrow, or it could also be called that because it's multiple levels, or the Weasleys could just have given it the nickname the Burrow. Now we're going to try to do a quick summary on the Weasley's house. There's not much to it. Sort of your basic average person that has a lot of children, right? A family, they've got how many kids?
7.
7. But it
Hmm.
does have some characteristics to it. So the house is described as a 7-story house with a lot of rooms. Looks like the rooms have been added on to it as time has gone by, and it's held together by magic. Mr. Weasley
Yeah,
has a garage.
I think the theory is every time they had a child, they just kind of out of the room.
Sure, sure, sure,
Yeah.
sure. So Mr. Weasley has a garage, they have a garden. It's your basic house that you would normally run into. Since it's described as being held together by magic, kind of sounds like if the house were in the Muggle world with no magic, it would probably just collapse and not pass inspection.
No,
Now this
definitely
house
not.
in no shape or form would pass in any inspections in the Muggle world. And the house would not be safe to live in. It's very dilapidated. But again, you have to remember there are 7 kids, 2 adults. Charlie and Bill don't live there anymore, but they did. So at one point you had 9 people living there. But I guess you could say that at this current time, you've got the parents, you've got Percy, you've got Fred, George, Ron, and Jenny. Don't forget about our girl Jenny,
Yeah.
the youngest Weasley that lives there.
I
They
like
even
how she did it. It's still 7 people. So
she's
there's
so
7
good.
kids, 2 moved out. There's still 7
Still
people in there.
7.
That's
They even
so.
had yeah,
I had a question. So, have you ever gone into a house that was a little dilapidated and you couldn't tell by looking, but by walking, you're like, oh, this house is uneven or the
absolutely.
floors are uneven.
Yeah.
And it makes you a little, it just throws you off. And so that being, could you, assuming that that's kind of how the Weasley house is, do you think you could live there? I mean, I guess you get used to it, but if they invited you over right now, would you be like, yeah, I can't do this? Or
Knowing
would
that
you be like,
knowing that
yeah?
they're wizards and witches?
Well, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Be like, hey, can you magic these like just level for me while I'm here? That'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, and in the movie they do a good job because while it looks helter skelter, it doesn't look
Doesn't
when
look
you're
like that on the
when you're
inside. Yeah.
inside it, it doesn't have the feeling of this is gonna really this is the only true time in I feel like the books where it's really brought up that it's not much. I mean, he's here for
Yeah.
summers, he's here for Christmases, and it's you've got other people of the order, you've got other friends there. They have a wedding
Yeah.
there, so it's I think this is I'd have to go back and reread, and obviously I will, but
And
we
this
know that it's
reminds.
it's just a hodgepodge of a magic house.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Never do
It
we feel that it will just implode or collapse on itself.
it reminds me of something when I was younger, before I'd ever moved out. I had this weird dream of having a really bad looking house on the outside, but having a magnificent house on the inside.
Smart,
Yeah, I was like, oh, that just
smart.
sounds awesome. Like, just
Make it look like
imagine people's
garbage on the
reactions when they
outside.
when they
Yeah.
walked in. Yeah, it's
Nobody's gonna rob you.
yeah,
You're like,
yeah,
there's nothing in there, and you walk in, it's just
yeah. I think I've
beautiful.
actually like heard of people doing that too, and I'm like, oh, that's just awesome.
All right, yeah. To finish up my bit, chickens running around, boots outside the front door. House was leaning to one side, had 4 or 5 chimneys, and Harry loves it.
Yeah, it probably feels like more comforting. Like there's stuff strewn about. It's a little bit more chaotic. Not everything is in its place, and
Well, and number 4, that's a cookie cutter neighborhood.
yeah, they're all the same
They're
houses.
all
Yeah,
the same.
yeah.
And
Nothing
so,
special about it.
yeah,
Nothing.
this
Yeah.
is. I mean, I love going into old houses,
Oh
and
yeah.
you're like, what does this hallway do? Where's
Yeah.
it going? Oh, yeah. And then you like open that door. No, there's the basement.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Cool, 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 cool. Yeah, yeah.
Well, and as you get older, you walk into an old house and you go, they don't build them like this
They
anymore.
don't build them like this anymore. Heck yeah.
So the Weasley house sounds like something out of a Dr. Seuss book, if I'm going to be honest. It's a complete and total opposite of the Dursleys' house, like we were just saying. As a matter of fact, I would go as far as saying that the Dursleys would take one look at this house and absolutely refuse to step on the property, let alone go inside the house. Like,
Hmm.
hey, come
Hmm.
in. You have to be joking. I could, I could picture that. And Vernon he wouldn't even leave his house with the thought of
Hmm.
being invited over there. So I think Petunia would at least go over. I think I could see Petunia go for some reason. I could. She's more familiar with it, and Vernon just has just gigantic fear of it.
Can I give you a pop quiz real quick?
You can.
So, on the car ride to the Burrow, Fred, George, and Ron are talking to Harry about certain incidences that their father has to go to. And he says, it's just dad and one older guy there helping. What
Hmm.
is that guy's name?
I thought you were going to ask when he came home, but you're talking about in the car. When he came home, he said there was 9 raids, but
Yeah, when he comes home, there's 9 raids.
who's the guy helping?
They talk
I've
about a
never.
specific one with a teapot, but he goes, it's just dad and one guy. They had to go to the hospital and they had to do memory charms, and one guy had to
Yeah.
go.
Did they ever mention his name?
They do mention his name, and we actually meet him in later books.
I feel like we meet this guy in the Goblet of Fire.
Oh, we meet him in when Harry, yeah, when Harry goes to his.
Oh, you know what? I think I could picture the guy. He's older. Doesn't
But they
Harry
do
meet?
they do mention his name in this chapter.
Does Harry meet him at the wedding?
I don't think he's at the wedding.
Okay. Okay, then I don't know.
He meets him when he goes to Mr. Weasley's office, at least in the
Drop
book.
drop the name.
Perkins.
Okay. Yes,
Perkins.
Perkins.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never really. When they mention that name, I never really think anything of it.
We get introduced to 3 names in this chapter.
Okay.
One
Hmm.
is obviously very prevalent in this book, and another one is not prevalent in this book, but she pulls back. So she pulls Perkins'
Yeah, yeah.
name, and we meet him later.
I know. I like a good question. Good question. I didn't know the answer. The name sounds familiar though. So
Perkins. Yep.
yeah. So this is where it starts to get good. So when kids do something bad, I love this, and they try to make up a story to cover the fact they just did something bad. Well, that's exactly what happened. They basically made up a story to sound like Harry had just showed up overnight. Except Miss Weasley came bounding around the corner knowing almost exactly what had happened. And I think we would be doing a disservice if we did not quote this.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Sit back from the mic a
You
little
backed
bit.
up.
Bed's empty, no note, car gone, could have crashed, out of my mind with worry. Did you care? Never. As long as I've lived. You wait until your father gets home. We've never had this from Bill, Charlie, or Percy. You could have died. You could have been seen. You could have lost your father his job.
Again, a witch that puts death first and then other bad things.
Yeah.
No, you put the bad things and then you say, or you could have died.
It's. I love that we see her character. You see her, oh sweet Mrs. Weasley, and then she does this, and you're like, oh okay, she's a mom.
Yes.
She's a mom.
She's a mom. Yeah.
So before I move on, I want to hear your attempt at that. We both have to do it.
You want me to do the quote?
Yes.
Beds. Do we like that? Beds.
Yeah.
Beds empty. No note. Car gone. Could have crashed out of my mind with worry. Did you care? Never. As long as I've lived. You wait until your father gets home. We never had trouble like this from Bill or Charlie or Percy. You could have died. You could have been seen. You could have lost your father his job.
I love Mrs. Weasley.
She's so good.
She is one of the. I can't even say she's underrated because she's not.
No,
She's not.
she's awesome.
She's Mrs. Weasley, and everybody gets it. Everybody. That's what's so good about these books. There's no question. There's no thought left to these characters other than what we try to expand and put thoughts in their head. Try to go different places with it, but. You know exactly who Mrs. Weasley is. You know exactly who Vernon, Petunia, Harry, Ron, Hermione. You know exactly who they are. There's no question left about who they are. It's great. It's great. But so she just yelled. We just yelled. We yelled. But she made sure to say that she was happy to see Harry.
Lovely to see you, Harry.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. It shows you the realness of Mrs. Weasley as a character. On one hand, we have a character that's probably the nicest that you could meet. But then she'll flip the script and blow her top if it's absolutely necessary. Oh, it's just great. But as Harry walked into this house that turned out to be very cluttered, it was completely full of magic. And we've already kind of talked about this. And it's also abnormal thing. So it's... Like with the crocheting, that's not something you would think of when you think of magic, like something crocheting itself. There was a clock on the wall that wasn't a clock at all, but it seemed to be more like a clock that was made out to be a chore list. And as we go on, that clock changes entirely.
Yeah, the clock changes entirely.
Yeah, it's just... the subtle things right there. If you're not paying attention to it, you'd see it later and you wouldn't even know
you're
that
like, wait a second, that's not what the clock is.
Oh, yeah. And I'm not going to give it away. We'll get to it when we get to it, but it's just great. The books around the house all represented something magical. Even the radio wasn't playing anything that you would hear in the Muggle world. That this I could use. The dishes were even washing themselves.
Yes.
I just wish the house would clean itself. That'd be great. Everything about this house shouted that you were in the wizarding world. There's no mistake.
And what's funny, when they're in the car coming to the Burrow, they said, Fred and George were like, we really wish we had a house elf. Mom says she really wishes we had a house elf to do the ironing. If you can use magic to wash dishes, you telling me
That's
you can't use
true.
magic to iron?
Yeah, house elf really is
Like I figure like you would have a
unnecessary.
house elf so you don't have to worry about any of it. It just takes
Yeah.
care of itself.
At
Because
the,
even
at
with
the,
magic, you've got to go around and do this, sure.
when you have to
But
kind of keep it on your mind, like you can't just do it and then forget because
right.
I feel like if you forgot, it would stop.
Sure.
Like if you forgot the dishes were washing themselves, well, they just wouldn't be
Yeah.
washing themselves. So I
Yeah.
guess the house elf, kind of take away the added stress. Would you call it
Sure.
added
Yeah.
stress?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to
Yeah,
worry about. It's like having a maid,
yeah,
right? You hire somebody to clean your house. Good. I don't need. It's gonna be done. Great.
yeah, yeah.
I
Makes
would
sense.
love to give you another pop quiz right now.
Oh, so I'm just gonna.
You just mentioned
Oh,
that the radio was on, and the announcer on the radio introduced a famous singer by the name of.
I want to say Sinestra, but I don't
You're
think that's
so
right.
close. It is not Sinestra. There is a different Sinestra.
Oh,
This is Molly's favorite.
it's on the tip of my tongue,
Nobody
and
cares what's on the tip of your
that's as
tongue. We
far
just
as it's
want
gonna get.
answers. Celestina Warbeck.
Yeah, okay. I was close. Sinestra is a teacher, so
You are 0 for 2.
yeah, I'm always over
And
however
this is
many
not the
questions there
last
are.
this is not the last pop quiz of this episode.
All right.
Okay.
I like it.
So Mrs. Weasley's upset. She's upset.
Hmm.
The punishment, we didn't forget about that. As punishment, the twins and Ron were to de-gnome the garden. And Mrs. Weasley said, Harry, it wasn't your fault they stole the car to come
Yeah, yeah.
break you out.
Oh, yeah.
But Harry's wide awake. He's now entered another Wizarding World environment.
Yeah.
So,
What's denoming?
yeah,
You
yeah,
have a garden?
yeah.
I'm gonna go with them.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So Harry's excited not only to not be at the Dursleys, but to be in a house that just screamed magic, freedom, relaxation. And now he wanted this new experience of denoming. And I think if anybody were in that situation, you're not going to want to miss anything. You've
No.
just gotten here. What are we doing? Let's do it. I want to see. We've seen what wizards do at school, but we've not seen what wizards do at home.
Yeah.
So now we're at home. Let's see what we do.
Would you be able to pick up one of these things and chuck them? Like, could you actually do it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. I would feel bad for them. They don't tell us why the gnomes are bad,
I said
right?
they're
They don't
just
tell
gonna get
us.
away, make it.
Are they
Yeah,
are
I don't really
they
know.
eating the plants? You don't want rabbits in your garden because they eat the carrot,
Yeah.
right? It- why are the gnomes a bad thing to be there?
Yeah.
So what's fun is while we're reading this the very first time, we hear the word gnome, and Ron calls Harry out on it. He goes, "Oh, I've seen those Muggle gnomes. These aren't little statues, right?"
What Muggles call gnomes? Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then what's funny is Miss Weasley, she pulls out a book, one of Gilderoy Lockhart. So we're now introduced.
Gilderoy.
We're introduced to
Yes.
Jeremiah's one of Jeremiah's favorite characters. We get
It's just
Gilderoy Lockhart, who we're gonna hear from over and over and again in this book.
see. I love the villain, but I also love when someone can pull off a magnificent stupid person, and he just does
Yes.
it flawlessly. It's
Yes.
great.
Yes. Yes. So
Uh,
this can't be the first time that they've had to de-gnome the garden.
no,
So
no.
why is she now like, well, let me
I think it's
see.
because they're getting into their second year, and she's like, "Oh my God, they're gonna meet Gilderoy Lockhart. I'm gonna
They
get
don't
his
know that
book."
yet. They don't know that he's a professor yet.
Hmm,
He announces it when they go to buy their school books. So
true.
Mrs. Weasley doesn't know that he's a professor, or going to
Maybe
be a
it's like
professor.
a current infatuation that she just
Just get the whole
recently
Gilderoy
discovered him.
phase.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
could see
maybe.
that. Yeah.
Well, as we learn, he does cause infatuation. So,
There you go.
yeah,
There you go.
that makes sense. Yeah.
So the Weasleys, as well as Harry, were instructed. Well, not at this point, but they're going to get a lot of when they get their school stuff, their letter. It's going to be very heavy Gilderoy Lockhart. Um,
Oh, I think every book is Gilderoy.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mrs. Weasley, I think, just wanted an excuse to pull up. She's got a little
Yeah.
crush on Gilderoy
Yes.
Lockhart. So they've done this before. They know what to do. In the Muggle world, right? They're little gnomes, they're little statues, and then we go out to the garden, and the gnomes are actually living creatures. And so the gnome part is very unnecessary.
Yeah.
To me,
Yeah.
it's unnecessary. It's
It's just
again
introducing magical creatures. I think. Yeah.
and it's the first and second book. She just has little things that are, oh, 11 and 12-year-olds might find this funny, might find this
Yeah.
entertaining, might
Yeah.
find this,
Yeah.
and
I mean, if you're a little kid and you're reading this, you're like, oh, that
yeah,
sounds so
yeah.
fun. Yeah. Yeah.
So you go into the garden, you pick them up by their feet, you hold them upside down, you spin them around because you have to make them dizzy. Because when you make them dizzy, they won't be able to find their way back to the garden.
Which is weird
Which is weird
because
because he only
how
throws
long
it
can you
20
stay
feet.
dizzy? Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Ron throws it 20 feet, and
They
you're
would just
telling
stand there
me,
for a couple seconds to go, oh,
yeah, they're
okay,
going
I'm
to
gonna go
look
back.
around.
They must be short. They must be really short
They've
and
got to be
not be
small.
able to
Yeah, they got to be
see
small.
that far. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
So yeah, you spin around and then you throw them as far as you can, and then there's a little competition,
And they're
and
talking crap the whole time. If you don't throw it
yeah,
far enough, they sense your weakness. They start talking crap. What was
yeah,
that? What was that?
yeah. And what's funny is once they know that the denoming is happening, the gnomes come out to see what's going on,
Yeah.
and Harry felt bad, so he said, "Okay, well, I'm not gonna throw this one. I'm just gonna set it down." And that gnome sensed his weakness, sunk his razor sharp teeth in Harry's finger. Yeah.
It's great. I love it.
So denoming,
Yeah.
denoming.
Yeah. It's another part of the magical world. I mean,
Another part of the
Harry's
magical
all
world.
for it. But that had to come to an end. All the gnomes, I mean, eventually you run out. I wonder how many there were. How much of an infestation of gnomes can you get? I don't think that's ever really brought up again, but
Well,
like
Fred or
we,
George picked up 5 or 6 of them at once.
yeah, yeah,
So the little, yeah.
yeah. Well, now that all that fun is over, all the chores are done. Their dad, oh, this is such a great chapter. Mr. Weasley comes home. So let's put this to the test. Let's see if Mr. Weasley can match the same energy that Mrs. Weasley can after finding out what their children did. So, Mr. Weasley is described in the books as a thin, balding man with a green, very worn out cloak. Just like any normal person that gets home from work, he started going on about his day. There were 9 raids. A man called Mundungus Fletcher, who has to be the slimiest person in the book. Would you like? He's just a terrible, terrible person. Like
Yeah.
just
He's just a
all
con
around.
artist. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's just
yeah.
a
I've
yeah.
known con artists too, and
Yeah.
I've actually worked for one. Unfortunately, it was bad, but this guy Mundungus Fletcher tried to jinx Mr. Weasley while his back was turned. But their mom didn't wait too long to tell him what the boys did while he was at work.
Oh, we're doing a little acting here. I'm excited.
Your sons flew that car of yours to Harry's house and back last night. What have you got to say about that, eh?
Did you really? Did it go all right? I mean, that was very wrong, boys. Very wrong indeed.
I love it.
Yes.
He's just over the moon. Oh my God, somebody used it. How did it go? Oh, I love it. I love it.
Mr.
Oh,
Weasley is a good character.
yes.
outside
Yes.
of being
He's got a big heart.
um,
Yeah.
a dirty government employee. He has a good heart. And
So, trigger warning for this episode.
so Mr. and Mrs. Weasley had complete and total opposite reactions. Mom was obviously upset, as moms typically would be when their kids do something illegal and
Yeah.
dangerous, and the dad was excited to see how the car flying experience was. But obviously, I'm the father as well, and just like your mother, we're very disappointed in you.
Oh, that's right. I'm supposed to act mad.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Does
right.
that ever happen to you? Your kids do something and it's not that bad. It's actually kind of funny, and you're like, "Oh crap! I'm supposed to be upset about this. I gotta. Okay, let me put on my acting face."
That's a great question. My wife and I do have different parenting styles.
Yeah.
She's a very peaceful parent,
Yes.
and I have had to, which is a great way to parent.
Oh, that's how yeah, mine
It's a great way
is.
to parent.
Yeah.
But
Sorry.
sometimes in her effort to be peaceful, her boundaries become blurred
Uh-huh.
with what the kids are supposed to be doing and what they don't do,
Yep.
different things like
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
So that's when I have no hesitation
To lay down the law.
to lay down the law.
Yeah.
I don't hit my kids. I don't cuss at my kids.
Yeah.
I'm not depriving them of food, right? They have a very good life.
Yeah.
But I don't want my wife to be walked all over because my wife loves my kids very much. I love my kids very much. I love my wife very much. My kids don't walk all over me. They don't walk all over me.
No,
But
no.
they will try to get away with, you know.
If they're out somewhere and he's doing something he's not supposed to do you want me to call dad? No, no. Correct
Yeah.
response.
Yeah. So Harry and Ron soon went up to Ron's room, which was so small that their heads almost hit the ceiling. But Ron's Hogwarts books and wands were set to the side, completely untouched. And what's the book say? It looked like they were in a furnace.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything was red and orange.
I imagine
Um,
it's hot too. He's in the attic. I mean, a very small
it could
attic.
be. Yeah, 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 it
Yeah.
could be. Because they're what? This is July or August. It's summer vacation. So,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
as a little kid, I would probably love it. But as a grown adult,
Yeah.
I have now grown into be claustrophobic. I would absolutely hate that room. So,
It's got to be a little magic. Just give me a nice breeze
yeah.
through the room.
Uh,
So we find that Ron is a huge fan of the Chudley Cannons, and there are Chudley Cannon posters, excuse me, all over the room, making it look orange. Ron kind of sits there waiting. He sits there waiting for Harry to say something, right? Harry's house compared to Ron's house. We've already talked, they're complete opposites. So Harry's
oh,
house
yeah.
with the Dursleys was immaculate. There would be no posters of sporting things I could imagine. Mr. and Mrs. Weasley or Mr. and Mrs. Dursley can't be that big into sports. Um, Everything had its own place there, rhyme and rhythm. And probably, well, and even Harry mentions like Uncle Vernon or Aunt Petunia would hate the Weasley's garden.
Oh,
Right?
yeah,
This
because it's
isn't.
full of weeds and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
not
yeah.
like that. So everything at Dursley's house was perfect, and the Weasley's house, on the other hand, like we said, untidy, messy, cluttered, full of magic. The house itself was leaning. If you didn't know any better, could probably fall apart at any magic, and that magic is holding it together.
Mhm.
Um, Weeds everywhere. Garden was messy. Grass was long. Everything seemed out of place, and it was just one giant cluttered living quarters. And Harry said, "This is the best house that I've ever seen."
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, what a relief off of Ron's shoulders. Like he's hardcore
Yeah.
comparing himself to Harry.
Well, and here's what I want to ask you. At the beginning of the chapter, right? Ron, what do you think Ron was thinking when Harry didn't write back the
Uh,
first or second time?
Probably nothing the first or second time, but as it went on, I imagine he started getting worried because I think Mrs. Weasley had even mentioned, like, if he didn't write back in the next couple of days, they were going to
Hmm.
go get him themselves.
Well, I
So,
feel like at first, because Ron is aware that he's now the one wearing he's the one wearing hand-me-downs, doesn't have a lot of money. Harry is Harry Potter, the famous Harry Potter, has plenty of
hmm,
money, Harry Potter.
yeah.
So I almost imagine that, oh, you write him, and Ron we know is very not overlooked at home, but maybe overshadowed. So when he looks in the mirror of Erised, it's him accomplishing all of the things that his brothers have accomplished.
Well, Ron puts a lot of pressure on himself as
He
well.
does. So I'm wondering, like, when Ron didn't get letters back, was it, oh man, is this Harry's way of saying, look, I don't want to be your friend?
Yeah.
If that ever crossed his mind
Yeah,
as an
that's
11, 12-year-old boy.
no. Yeah, I bet. I bet. I bet. So I'll just jump right in.
Please do.
Amazing chapter. Loved everything about it. I don't think I have anything to complain about with it. We see more magic. We see the Weasley's house. We see that magic is not perfect in a sense. You would expect, a wizarding family to have a neat, tidy, beautiful, magnificent house with nice, expensive things in there. I think that's what a lot of people think when they, oh, magic. I could have whatever I want. I could conjure up whatever. They think just great imperfection or perfection. And this shows you no, it's not. There's weeds everywhere. There's boots. They're just like if he lived in a country next to a ranch. That's well. There you go. That's the Weasleys.
That's the
I just
Weasleys, yeah.
yeah. No, I love it. What did you?
Love the chapter. Love the chapter for what it is for a first time read. Love the chapter for what it is as it pertains to the whole series. We get to meet new characters. Obviously, we've met Mrs. Weasley briefly in book
Yeah.
one. We did not meet Mr. Weasley, so we get to meet him. We get the flying car. We get a great escape. We see the Burrow. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
great, great.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, it could have done without the gnomes, but again, you're a magical creature, a little bit of
Yeah, it
fun
doesn't
thrown in there
hurt.
for the
Doesn't hurt
kids.
the
Yeah,
chapter.
no.
It doesn't hurt the
Yeah.
chapter. I just don't
And
think it does
it was so
anything for
brief.
the chapter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was so brief that it doesn't matter.
yeah.
So, no. Nope. Loved it. So thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you're listening. And join us next time for Chapter 4 at Flourish and Blots. Andrew, I know you got that quote ready. I seen your face brighten up when I hit that final thoughts button. So I know you're ready. Sign us out.
Fame is a fickle friend, Harry. Celebrity is as celebrity does. Remember that. Squibs Corner is hosted by Jeremiah Lobaugh and co-hosted by Andrew Beecham, myself. We would love to hear from you, so drop us a rate and review. To inquire about being a guest, or if you have questions, comments, or just want to give us your Harry Potter story, email us at squibscorner@gmail.com. To watch Harry Potter merch unboxings, follow Jeremiah's YouTube, Accio Potter Guy. Lastly, you can leave us a voice memo and follow us on Instagram at Squibs Corner Podcast.